Hello, my name is McLaughlin, Head of the Employment Unit at Bigot Bailey Solicitors, Glasgow and Edinburgh, and I'm going to speak for a few minutes about issues facing employers when their employees become stuck abroad because of the volcano ash. Firstly, I'll deal with when employees go on holiday and become stranded. Are those employees entitled to be paid? The answer is no, unless the contract of employment has some very unusual provisions. Employees, generally speaking, are only entitled to be paid when they work. Obviously, other provisions will apply when the employees are off because of ill health. But of course, this is not an ill health situation, and therefore, generally speaking, employees are not entitled to be paid for the days in which they're stranded abroad. Can an employer discipline or dismiss employees who are stranded abroad? Again, the short answer to that question is no, unless the employer has reason to suspect that the absence is in fact bogus and the employee isn't really stranded abroad, or alternatively that the employee is not doing all that they might do to return home. One difficulty employers will have if they do suspect that the absence isn't altogether genuine is of course collecting material and evidence that would help to demonstrate that. And very often employers are simply going to have to take the employee's word for the absence. Can employees insist upon taking these days as holidays? Again, the answer to that is no. But by extension, an employer can insist that the employee takes the days stranded abroad as holiday. What about employees who are stranded abroad whilst on business? Well, basically, those employees are still at work, and therefore they are entitled to be paid their salary and benefits in the normal way. Because they're entitled to be paid, it would be sensible for an employer whose employees are going abroad on business to make sure that they're fully equipped with laptops, Blackberries, computers and various other items so that they can still carry out their job function whilst stranded abroad. Issues in relation to business expenses may also arise. Employees who travel abroad regularly are usually subject to an employer's expenses policy, but it would be unlikely that such a policy would deal with the current circumstances. Employers who want to avoid disputes with employees upon their return about the amount of money that's been spent and the items that the money's been spent on would be well advised to email their employees, or at least speak to them, and set out some broad parameters for the amounts of money that the employee can spend on a daily basis by way of subsistence for food and drink and expenses, and also a limit to the daily hotel spend. That way it prevents the employer and the employee entering into a dispute when the receipts are presented upon the employee's return. Other issues arise in respect of the 48-hour working week under the working time regulations, and accordingly it would be sensible for the employer to set out and remind the employee not to work excessive hours whilst abroad. Issues might arise if the employee has a contractual right to overtime, and again, that's a very good reason for an employer to communicate with the employee in writing to make sure that they work no more than the normal working day. It's clear from recent days that issues in relation to the volcano victims are going to rumble on. Airports are being closed at very short notice, and no-fly zones are being created on an almost daily basis. So this is not a problem that's going to go away in the short term. If you have any queries regarding the treatment of employees and their contracts of employment if they become volcano victims, please contact us at www.bigotbailey.co.uk.